this conversation going to be, I don't know, maybe fun. You may disagree, you may completely agree. It's up for opinion, but I want to share mine with you guys. On the top is my new 7705, that's the Marantz. I've made plenty of videos about it, so if you're interested in any reviews, unboxings, or anything of the sort involving the Marantz, I have a few of them on the channel already, so go back and check those. Down below that is the Yamaha Avantage RX-A 3070, and that was my previous home theater beast. I replaced it with the Marantz up top, but I want to talk about something that I've been kind of hinting at a while now, and that's Marantz versus Yamaha. Which one's better? Which one has the better sound quality, the more features, this, that, and the other? And I'm here to tell you my opinion. And again, this is my opinion, so don't take it too strong. Take it with a grain of salt. But do hear me out. So the Marantz and the Yamaha are probably one of the most known names in the industry. Everybody knows Yamaha and Marantz. They've been around for so long. It's been forever since they've put their name out there. Marantz owns Denon, and then Yamaha has pianos and speakers and all sorts of different things, so they're both well known. But for me, there's just one that I think is just a little bit better, and that's gonna be the Marantz right there. Yeah. So the Marantz, for me, it has better sound quality. When it comes to music, it's more accurate, it's more flat, it doesn't have a lot of heavy EQ going on if you don't want it to. It's more of an audiophile type machine when it comes to music. But that's where the Yamaha comes in. I feel like the Yamaha has a lot more bass presence inside of it. It does great with Atmos and DTS:X content, really good for surround sound. It seems to be more of a movie oriented machine, but it does sound really good for music as well. It's hard to say which one's honestly better because they both use different calibration techniques. So the Marantz up top right there, it uses the Odyssey Multi-EQ XT32. That's the state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line calibration system that Marantz and Denon use, and I believe Onkyo used to use it until they went to their own. And so it's something that I really loved in my last Marantz receiver. I really love Odyssey. It just does so well. Even now with this AV processor, it sounded so good. The subwoofer blend with the speakers with this is so good. It sounds so even, sounds so tight, crisp, clean. I love it. It doesn't have a lot of punch like the Yamaha did. The Yamaha down there has a little bit more bass inside of it. It seems like it has a lot of different things that the Marantz kind of like tones down. For example, like my subwoofer, my volume for my subwoofer is louder on my Yamaha than it is on my Marantz, but Marantz has subwoofer volume leveling that the Yamaha doesn't. And so that's kind of the reason why the bass is so much better on the Yamaha, is because Yamaha doesn't equalize the bass below 31 Hertz. Yamaha doesn't calibrate the volume before you start calibration in general, and so Marantz just kind of makes everything as flat of a response as it can be. So your bass is not going to be louder than your mids, and your mids won't be louder than your highs, and vice versa. Everything's more of a flat sound, and that's what I really like. I feel like when you start adding different EQ and things like that to your music and your movies, you start to change what the artist intended you to hear. And for me, that's just not the way music's supposed to sound. It should sound like a live recording, or you're sitting right there in that concert. It should sound just like that in your living room, and I feel like Marantz gets the closest to that. Now, for someone who loves music and loves movies, you may find both of these to be a winner. And I've had Yamaha products in the past, and I've had Marantz products in the past, and I've been going in between the two, and it took me 8 or 9 years to realize what kind of sound I really liked, and it's just the Marantz. And it's not that Yamaha sounds bad at all, it just sounds different. And it's not a bad different, it's just different. And I like the Marantz just a little bit better. So, in my opinion, the top-of-the-line Marantz is a tad bit better sounding than the top-of-the-line Yamaha. And it's just something that I prefer. Also, you get RAW 3D with this, and DTS:X, and high-res audio, and Dolby Atmos. You get all the formats out there, and now you have IMAX Enhanced. You have everything out there that you could ever want right here in one package called the Marantz AV7705. And Yamaha has most of those things as well, it just doesn't sound the same. Now, what I really appreciated with the Yamaha receivers in the past is that you can go in and manually change your EQ all the way down to I believe 16.1 hertz. You could change your levels if you wanted to. If you wanted more bass in your front speakers, I can go in there and change that. I can bump it up 3 or 4 dBs. If I didn't like the treble, the top end, I could lower that down a few dBs. I love that part of the Yamaha, and it really allowed me to tailor it to the way that I like the sound. So I was able to actually go back and neutralize my sound, make it as flat as possible. And of course, I like a little bit of bass, so I kind of bump up the bass just a little bit, but I can achieve a flatter sound with Yamaha if I want to. I just have to go back and do that myself, which I recommend you doing anyway. Go back to your settings, see what it did, and make it your own. That's the best way to do it. But Marantz, it's just something about how tight and accurate things sound. Especially this right here. I have it powered by my Monolith 7 from Monoprice, and those two accompany each other so well. I highly recommend, if you guys are out there now using a AV receiver, but you don't use the amplification in the AV receiver, I highly recommend going to an AV processor and getting a good amp. Get a 7 or 11 channel amp and power your speakers with that, because the sound that you get when you start using other components, they sound amazing. You really start to tailor the sound to your own. You don't have to use the internal amplification that a receiver has. Usually it's not sufficient enough to power your speakers at its best. So it's also good to get external amplification anyway. So if you're going to use external amplification, then maybe think about not getting a receiver. Get a processor. Now they're a little more expensive, but they sound just as well as the cost, if that makes any sense. So what you pay for is what the sound sounds like. So when you're out there shopping and you're looking at different receivers and AV processors from different companies, what you put in, what money you spend is what you're going to get out. So for me, this costs top dollar, but it sounds like top dollar. So you really want to feed your speakers with good sound quality and good power if you're really going to use this for the long haul. So which one is better? Again, I still think Marantz is better for me, but it may not be for you. You may not like Yamaha or Marantz. You may like Pioneer, Sony, Anthem, Rotel, whoever you want. That may be your calling, but for me, Marantz just has it for me. I had Marantz back in like 2009, 10 or 11, something like that. And then I switched to Yamaha for the years after that. And then I found myself missing Marantz, and I just decided to get one again. So it's just the EQ, the neutralization of sound, the even flat sound from Marantz. It's the multi-EQ XT32 from Marantz that I just love to death. It's far superior than Yamaha's Wipeout, and I feel like that's holding Yamaha's receivers and processors back, is the calibration itself. Although you're not supposed to rely on calibration, but it's a good foot in the door, especially for those who don't have the means of calibrating it themselves, no software, or don't have the knowledge to do so. Some people really heavily rely on that completely. And so Yamaha, I really think they need a refresh for that, and it really would change how I feel and some people feel about their receivers and things like that. But still don't get me wrong, guys. Yamaha is top dollar. Even their new processor is fantastic. Their CX, I forgot what it's called. Their new CX line of processors is amazing, amazing. Got some good components in there, but it's held back by an outdated calibration system. So I love Yamaha. That's why I've held on to it for so long. That's why I've always had it in my home theater. But Marantz for me is just something that's more versatile. I feel like it's so much more better than Yamaha in music that it makes up for the difference in movies. I think Yamaha's a little bit better for movies than Marantz, but the difference between the music capabilities in Marantz and Yamaha kind of makes up for that. So I find myself going back to the Marantz. It's of quality. It's regarded as an audiophile piece of equipment. I love the sound of it, and I don't think I'm ever going to change unless I go to something higher in than Marantz. So if you guys were wondering which one was better, Marantz or Yamaha, for me, Marantz just kills it for me. I love the sound, but again, this is just my open and honest opinion. It means nothing to you. That's okay. If it means a lot to you, that's awesome. That's why I made this video for you guys. But I just wanted to share my opinion because I have two of them in front of me now, so why not talk about them both? So guys, leave me a comment right now down below. What receiver are you using, or what processor are you using? What manufacturer? Is it Sony? Is it Onkyo, Denon, Marantz, Yamaha? And do you like it? What do you not like about it? And then what do you guys think about the Marantz versus Yamaha battle? Which one's better? Have you heard them both? Which one makes more sense for you? Does it sound better for music on Yamaha than the Marantz, or vice versa? Let me know down below in the comments below. Also, if you're not subscribed, smack that subscribe button right now and push that bell so that you're notified for all my videos that pop up. And then hit that like button while you're there. And guys, we'll see you really soon for a new video. Kpaceguy out.